It's the aftermath of scrubbing the ceiling. All that crap on the floor. Scrubbing all the dirt and loose wood off the ceiling. It's a lot cleaner now. Just finished the whole thing.
I had a friend who has all the sprayer equipment coming up in the next week or two to clear coat the ceiling, so I had to prepare for that. This is my friend Mike, who volunteered his services for the day. I only had him do the main part of the ceiling, and I would handle the rest of the cabin ceilings, the bedroom and kitchen later on. This old footage doesn't do it any justice, but now the wood looked clean and had a nice semi-glossy sheen to it. Now I was really looking forward to my next project, building a live edge bar top. I bought this 3 to 4 inch thick live edge pine slab from a forestry products store somewhere near Boulder, Colorado. It had the perfect shape, and I only needed to cut the length a few inches for a perfect fit. I was determined to securely install it using minimal exposed supports, so I had to get creative with how I attached it to the wall. I cut out slots so the slab would slide in between the wall studs. In addition to the heavy-duty L brackets, which will be bolted to the studs inside the wall, the back of the bar top will also be bolted to the horizontal 2x4 behind me. The bolts will be hidden inside the wall and covered with the ceramic tiles later on. This clip gives a pretty good idea of how the bar top is supported with minimal exposed supports. The 2x2s are only there to screw the backer board into for the tiles. Behind the 2x2s, the bar top is bolted into the horizontal 2x4. There's also a short supporting 2x4 on the far end under the bar top. Then I put an epoxy clear coat on the top. I'd never done an epoxy coating before, and I was a little intimidated at first. This was a time before there was YouTube to watch instructional videos. At the time I poured and spread the epoxy, there were hundreds of moths flying around inside the cabin, drawn in at nighttime by the lights and sneaking in through holes in the window screens. So I had to build a plastic tent around the bar top to keep them from landing in the epoxy. Unfortunately, there was no footage of me pouring the epoxy, but here I'm just popping the last few air bubbles in the coating. And yes, I did use a heat gun to draw the majority of the air bubbles out of the finish. In the end, I thought the coating came out pretty good for a first-timer. Then we were back to finishing the last of the ceiling clear coat. Then back to tiling.
Blue tape isn't supposed to be on there.
And then it was time to start the massive undertaking of making and installing all of the trim work. Having my own table saw and being able to make my own trim saved a ton of money. I wanted to install some decorative corbels in the peaks of the ceiling on both ends of the cabin. But now that the wood floors were installed, I could no longer screw the base of the ladder into the floor to keep it from sliding out, because the floor was so slick. Earlier, the ladder almost fell flat on the floor with me on it, so I had to get creative with the ladders.
Who said I wasn't creative?
With most of the trim work finished, it was time to move on to the next project.